Good morning, my dear students, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this e-learning session. Welcome to Science by Harsha ma'am. Now, friends, try to recall what we did in our last session. In our last session, we talked about the lesson which is why do we fall ill? हम बीमार क्यों पड़ते हैं? In this content, where we did why do we fall ill? We talked about the basic things that when a person can be said healthy, when a person can be said the disease free, and the basic types of disease, that is the acute disease and chronic disease. Today, we are going to bifurcate in one more context the types of disease. The first one we did was on the basis of for what duration of time the disease is going to act. Now the next one is the types of disease, which is congenital disease and the acquired disease. Now, how are these two diseases, which is congenital disease and acquired disease, different from each other? Those diseases which are present in any person by birth. They are having some of the disease by birth. Then that is called as congenital disease. Acquired disease, that means the disease which is either because of properly not taking any nutrient or from through the environment, then that is called as the acquired disease. Some of the example of the congenital disease is the color blindness. From the time they are born, they are not able to identify the type of color, then that is coming under this category. And acquired means through the environment. Now acquired is further classified into two types, which is communicable disease and non-communicable disease. How many types of disease are these? Which are those? They are communicable and non-communicable. Now what are communicable disease and what are non-communicable disease? The name of communicable disease is also infectious disease. And here it is non-infectious disease. If we talk about the communicable and non-communicable disease, then over here you are having infectious disease and over here it is non-infectious. Communicable or infectious disease means those diseases which are getting transferred from one person to another person. Like the COVID-19 that gets transmitted, cold, common cold, cough, flu, all these things get transmitted. But if you are sitting beside the person who is having diabetes, you are not going to get the diabetes. So what is that? It is coming under which category? It is coming under the category of non-communicable disease. We are going to discuss in detail about all the infectious disease and the non-infectious disease. But before we do that, you have to note down this content, and I'm giving you exactly 1 minute for the same. Quickly finish it. I hope you have noted down the content. Now let's move further on the content. So, we were discussing about the infectious and non-infectious disease. Those diseases that get transmitted from a person that is infected to the healthy person, then that is called as the infectious disease. And the disease which does not get transferred from a infected person to a healthy person, what it is called as non-infectious disease. So let's move further now. Infectious disease. In detail, we are going to talk about this fact, that is infectious disease. That is our topic. And more properly saying, it is the communicable disease. First thing that we have to discuss in the infectious disease is the agents which are causing the infection. Now, which are the agents that are causing infections? The various agents are bacteria, fungi, virus, protozoa. One more is added over here, which is helminths. Okay, so we'll discuss about it. In the agents, which are the agents? Bacteria, fungi, virus, protozoa, and helminths. You already know about all of them. Only thing is helminths you might not have heard. First of all, bacteria. If you talk about bacteria, then in your class 8 you have studied that they are unicellular more, they are prokaryotic, and they are microscopic organism. Some of the very well-known bacterias that you have studied in your lower standards, and their uses as well as how they are creating the problem. Right now we are talking about the disease, so we'll talk about some of the diseases that are caused by bacteria. Example is the tuberculosis that is caused by bacteria, typhoid, cholera, all these are caused by bacteria. Moving further on the viruses, you are knowing that it is becoming active only when it is going inside the body of the host, and over there it will go and replicate, and they utilize the metabolic machinery of the host cell. That means वो जहाँ पे चाहते हैं उसको use करके, and then they are creating the problem. Some of the example is AIDS and measles, mumps, um, smallpox. Then moving on the further part, which is the fungi. If you talk about fungi, then you already know they are multicellular organisms, and they are eukaryotic, and they are having the mode of nutrition which is heterotrophic. Some uh, of you might be knowing about the fungal disease that is generally caused in the skin. So, skin problems are basically the fungal disease. Moving on further, protozoa, machar, what it is? It is coming under the protozoa. So those multicellular microscopic organisms which are creating problem, they are coming under the category of protozoa, and one of the best example of the disease caused by protozoa is the malaria. Moving further, which is helminths. Now what are these helminths? These are worms that are generally present in the intestine, and they create problem for the human being. So the very first topic is about the agents. Basic introduction to the agents you have studied in your lower standards. Here we discuss just hardly one or two name of the disease extra. Moving on further on the next particular topic of this, that is infectious disease, that is the reason for uh, categorization of infectious agents. Now, why and which type of drug should be given to any particular person who is suffering from any disease? See, each and every of them, that is virus, bacteria, fungi, they are having their own way to work out. And so, किसी एक की दवा है वो दूसरे में नहीं दी जा सकती. The thing that is impacting bacteria will not impact the virus. So that is what it is said. A drug will block one of the biochemical pathways by which uh, it will be effective to one group. That means if at all any disease is there, then they're giving the medicines, the drugs in the form of the medicines, and this will be helpful only in a particular type of disease. Here they have given that antifungal will be used against all the type of fungi. Antibiotics will be used for the pathogens, but antibiotics are not effective against viruses. That means the one which is used for killing bacteria will not be used for killing the virus. हर एक ड्रग है वो अलग टाइप की होती है. It is of a different type. Vermicides, it is used for overcoming the worm infection. So each and every one is having a particular way. Antibiotics for killing the pathogens, then the antibiotics for bacteria and not for viruses. Protozoas infections is treated by different types of drugs, and antifungal for all the fungi and vermicides for all the worms. मतलब हर एक का अलग अलग कैटेगरी है, उसके हिसाब से उसकी दवाई है. Over here it means only this. The third content is the means of spread. This is again a very common topic. How is the disease getting spread? एक पर्सन में से दूसरे पर्सन तक डिजीज कैसे पहुंचती है? The very first way of it is direct transmission. Now, what is this direct transmission? Here, the pathogen is transmitted directly from the infected person to a healthy person in many ways. Directly, the person will get affected. By what ways? The very first way is contact with the infected person. In this, we are having if any person is suffering from any kind of cold, cough, flu, and that person comes into contact of healthy person, then there is a possibility that another person who is healthy may get affected by the person who is having this common cold and cough. COVID-19, as you already know, comes under this category. Next is contact with the soil. By coming in direct contact of the soil, some of the pathogens may enter into our body. Third one is through the animal bites. In animal bites, the very well known one is rabies. Uh, you already know that whenever the dog is biting, generally you are taking the injections in order to avoid any kind of any other problem. Now, what that problem is? That problem is of rabies. Now, what is the rabies? It is the type of the disease that is caused when uh, any person is getting bited by a dog. If the dog is a rabid dog, then there is a possibility that the person, if not injected, may also suffer from rabies. It is a disease in which the person behaves like a dog. So, even the rabid monkey can create that problem. Next is transplace, uh, transplacental transmission. Now, what is this transplacental transmission? Means those diseases that go from a mother to the young one, that is to the fetus. Uh, for example, the AIDS. It is one of the disease that can be transmitted from a mother to the child when the lady is pregnant. So that is the transplacental transmission. Next is the droplet infection. What is this droplet infection? Suppose any person is coughing or sneezing, what will happen? All the materials from their mouth as well as from their nose will come out, and that is coughing, spitting, that is containing all the bacteria and all the pathogens. And so there is a possibility that this droplet uh, can also be responsible for communication of the disease. And so only it is said that when you're coughing or sneezing, use a tissue paper or at least use your elbow. Don't directly cough on somewhere, or don't directly spit somewhere, or don't sneeze somewhere. Okay, use handkerchief, tissue paper. These are the ways by which protection can be done against disease. Okay, so these are the ways by which the direct transmission is occurring. If we talk about the indirect transmission, this was all about the direct transmission, and now we are going to move on further in the indirect transmission. What is this indirect transmission and how it is created, and what is its major thing? If we talk about indirect transmission, that means those diseases which are not directly coming in, when you are not in coming in contact of that person. Like for example, we had a talk. If you are sitting and having lunch with the person who is having diabetes, then there are no scope that you will get diabetes. So that is about the indirect transmission. In the indirect transmission, the very first thing is it gets transmitted through vectors. What are the vectors? Vectors are the pathogens that are responsible. For example, those pathogens, they will reach to the person of a healthy body by any of the means. For example, you know that malaria is caused by the biting of a mosquito. Housefly is the carrier of the cholera and typhoid. So let me give you one very small example. If a fly is sitting at somewhere on the excreta or on the droplet of the person who is suffering from cholera, and she will also sit on the food on which you are eating. Okay, if she is coming from there and sitting on the food that you are eating, and directly if you consume that, what will happen? By indirectly, that bacteria will directly go into your body. Okay, and it will create problems. So this is how vectors are a problem for us. Even the malaria is one of the example. Next is through contaminated food and water. If at all any stale food is eaten, then there is a possibility that the person may have the problem. Few of the example is cholera, diarrhea, all this are caused by the contaminated food consumption. Next is airborne disease. Now, what is this airborne disease and what is coming in under this? Uh, Airborne disease means the healthy person comes in contact of the person's any other thing like some of the infectious agents, they are releasing everything and they may have the allergy of it. Like for example, if anyone is having allergy of dust, then what is that? That is a form of airborne disease which is coming under indirect transmission. Next is fomite borne. Now, what is coming under this fomite borne? Suppose if the person who is very healthy and he or she has touched the door uh, and entered into a room, any another person uh, who is not well, suffering from any of the infectious disease, and they are touching the door, while leaving the person who is sitting over there, if he is touching the same door and the bacteria is if present, then indirectly he will be caught by the disease. That is a fomite bone. Articles that are coming in contact with the patients are a source of infection. Example, the doors, handles, taps, garments, currency, utensils, crockery, everything. The next one uh, is the pathogenicity. Now, what is this pathogenicity? Pathogens, as you know, can harm their host in a number of ways, like destructing the body tissues, releasing the toxins or poisons. So, entry of those pathogens into the body is called infections, and when they enter the body, they will get divided, they will multiply, and this is how they will create a problem. The interval between the infection and appearance of the first system, that is called as incubation period. Okay, do remember what is incubation period. कोई भी डिजीज का कोई भी इन्फेक्शन है वो आपको लगता है और सिम्टम दिखता है, उसके बीच का जो टाइमिंग होता है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इंक्यूबेशन पीरियड. ओके, so that is about the very important point of the infectious disease. Kindly note down these things and always remember that you have to remember only the headings. Rest of the things you should be in the position to mention it on your own. Okay, so just quickly note it down, then we'll move further. So, dear students, I hope you have mentioned all this content. You have noted it down. So, let's move further on the next particular topic. Okay, the next particular topic which we are going to do is the effects of the disease. If we talk about how is the effect of disease on any particular thing, then there are three ways in which the disease can impact any person. The very first one is the organ or tissue specific effects. If we talk about organ or tissue specific effects, then there are microorganisms which are entering into our body either through nose or through mouth or through the sex organs. So there are various places from which they are entering the body, and accordingly they are going to affect that particular organ. Here they have given one very small example. Let us discuss it. If bacteria that is causing tuberculosis, any bacteria that is causing TB, how it will enter? It will enter through the nose because it is entering the nose, and the very first thing that is involved over here, it is in the going into the respiratory passage, and then it will go to the lungs. So what will be the problem? The problem will be whenever there is a problem of lungs, there is breathing issues. The person is not able to breathe properly, the patient more specifically speaking, and after that it will start uh, creating impact on the other thing. So this is how the very first stage, first some of the tissues and then the entire organ will be affected, like the lungs. Here we discussed that if the TB bacteria is entering, then it is going to create the problem for the lungs. The passage that is involved will also get affected, and this is how the entire organ gets affected. The next one is the common effects. Now, what is in the common effects? Let us try to understand it. If we talk about the common effects, then this category includes some of the major and normal problem, like in many of the disease, the common thing is there is fever. Many of the disease, this is the common symptom that the person is getting fever, that is the temperature rises, sometimes there is swelling. In all these cases, why this is generally happening? It is happening because it is affecting the immune system. It is trying to destroy the white blood cells. And because they are trying to decrease the immunity, this kind of problems are arising. Yes, the increase in the temperature, that is one of the reason in which the immune system declines. The next one, which is the severity effects. How will the severity affect now? If it is in the beginning stage, if the number of microbes that are entering our body, if the number is less, then in that case the severity will be less. If the number of microbes that are attacking the body, if that is more, then the severity of the disease will be more. So this is how the disease will affect. That is organ or tissue specific effects, the common effects and the severity effects. Now, let's move further on the next particular topic, which is the treatment of infectious disease. We talked about the various disease, its defects, But now we are going to talk about the treatment of disease. If we talk about this content, which is the treatment of disease, then it is over here. The basic concept behind the treatment is to target anyhow the microbes or the way that they are using. One of them is there are many ways. Over here we are having two ways by which the treatment of the disease can be done. The very first one is in reducing the symptom. Now, how can the symptom be reduced? Yes, many symptoms like fever, pain, then ache, inflammation, all this can be reduced by using some of the medicines. If the symptoms are reduced, then the person will feel little bit ease. There will be comfort little bit. You are knowing about the painkillers. ओके दांत में दुखे सर में दुखे कि पाँव में दुखे कहीं पे भी दुखे किसी भी रीज़न से then painkiller is generally given. So this is very first way in which any of the disease can be treated, that is by reducing the symptom. The second one is the killing infections. In that, the very first one is by using the drugs, that is the medicines. What is killing infections? That means targeting the biochemical pathways of infectious agents by using specific drugs. Now, here infection can be killed by two ways. One is by using the drugs, and another is by using the antibiotics. Now, how are the antibiotics? Antibiotics are such that if at all any particular bacteria, if it is going to multiply and if it is multiplying itself, then to it if a particular antibiotic is given of that particular disease, then what will happen? They will not allow that bacteria to form the cell wall or to form the further cells. If it will not allow it to form the cell wall or form the cells, then ultimately the propagation of the disease or the multiplying of the number of microorganisms in the body will be hampered and it will be easy to kill it. Okay, try to understand it. Very simple it is. Suppose bacteria, as you are knowing, there are suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7,000 bacteria are there. Now, these 7,000 are going to increase the number of bacteria in the body if it is going on continuing. If the drugs are coming, if the antibiotics are added, then what will happen? This 7, it will be affected by this particular antibiotics. Then what will happen? These drugs will not allow the other of when they are reproducing, when they are multiplying or getting multiplied, this will not allow the other microbes to form the cell wall. In that case, what will happen? The number that was going on increasing from 1 to 2 and 2 to 7,000, that will be reduced, and this is how antibiotics are helpful. But a particular type of antibiotic can be used for a particular type of disease. Everything, anywhere, everywhere cannot be managed. Now, how is this possible? Yes, this is possible. But why and how? Let us discuss the same. For that, we have to discuss about one incident. That incident is Fleming. He noticed that one of the agar plate, it was with one of the bacteria and it was getting contaminated with a mold. So, bacteria, to it antibiotic was given. So, bacteria was killed, but there was mold in it. That means fungi was affecting it. So, a particular type of antibiotic can be used for a particular type of disease. For different types of disease, there are different types of antibiotics. This will kill or stop the growth of microbes. Antibiotics are not effective for viruses, or and it is difficult to make antiviral disease because virus are cellular entities which have nucleic acid and protein, but they do not have cell wall cytoplasm. So they are having their own metabolism, and antibiotics are not at all useful in case of the viruses. Okay, the part of the portion of the drugs is left out. Now, what will this drugs do? It will see that the reaction or any of the thing, it doesn't spread and it can kill the microbes. So that is the basic function of any of the drug. Okay, so this is how the treatment can be done. First is either reduce the symptom or kill the bacteria. These are the two ways by which any of the disease can be treated. Now, let us move further in this content. We have done about the treatment of disease. Now we are going to talk about the next topic, which is the preventions of infectious disease. Kindly keep the material with you, it will be more helpful to you. Prevention is always better than the cure. ओके कोई भी बीमारी हो और हम बाद में दवाइयाँ लेके ठीक हो, उससे बेटर है बीमारी ना हो, ऐसा ध्यान रखने का. What are the preventive measures for any of the infectious disease? This you already know and you can write it in your own words. The very first one is the safe drinking water, the clean drinking water. Water, you know, we are consuming a lot. Within the span of 3 hours, at least 1 glass of water you might be taking. Our life is not possible without water. So whatever water we are drinking, that should be safe. Next is, if we talk about the next part, then it is proper disposal of waste. Now what is coming under this? That is proper disposal of waste. If we talk about this fact, that is properly disposing the waste, then what will happen if we are properly disposing the waste? And if we are not disposing, then what will happen? If we are not disposing, then over there will be gathering of all the pathogens, all the microbes, all the pathogens, and they will create a problem. Okay, so garbage and everything should be thrown properly, and it should be burnt or buried, and proper treatment is needed. Next is the control of vectors. If we talk about this fact, that is controlling the vectors. Now what is that? That is controlling the vectors. How can vectors be controlled now? Yes, it is easily possible to control the vectors, but by what means? You all are knowing that during the rainy season, everything gets like water and everything, it gets gathered everywhere, and over there is a possibility that the mosquito breeding may take place. So that should not be allowed. The next one is strong immune system. જો ઇમ્યુનિટી સ્ટ્રોંગ હોય ને તો કોવિડ પણ ના થાય. ઓકે, કોવિડના બેક્ટેરિયા બી આપણને એટલા ઇમ્પેક્ટ ના ક્રિએટ કરી શકે ઇફ ધ ઇમ્યુનિટી ઇઝ વેરી સ્ટ્રોંગ. સો it will ultimately help in invading all the bacteria. If we talk about immune system, then our body is having proper type of a system that is fighting against the disease, and that is called as immune system. And specific types of cells are present. That is the WBC, that is that which are generally called as the soldiers of our body that are present in the blood, and the lymphocytes in the lymph. Whenever any foreign material is attacking our body, then these cells are released, and ultimately they will either engulf or kill the bacteria. So this is how their working system is. Okay, two protective cells, WBC soldiers in the blood, and the lymphocytes in the lymph. The next way to prevent the disease is these are the general preventive measures. Then you are having specific preventive measures. Specifically, how can the disease be reduced? The very specific way, in my first one, is by immunization. Now, what is immunization? You are knowing that, particularly if we talk about immune system, our immune system is misleaded to develop a memory against a particular type of infection, and antigens and proteins, they are present on the surface of invaders. So very first way of immunization is the vaccination, that is, take the vaccine. If the vaccine will be taken, then what will happen? The similar type of bacteria or anything similar type similar type, it is injected into the body, and whenever that type of you can say the dead microbes, they are injected into the body, and whenever such other bacteria or other microbes are entering, in that case the fight will again start, because the memory will come back. We have done a lot about the vaccination in class 8, so better you remember that. Here they have given about Edward Jenner, who had cowpox, and he did not catch smallpox even during the epidemic. And Jenner, he tried giving cowpox to the people, and he found that it was resistant to smallpox. Okay, so this is how they used some of the vaccines, and they ultimately helped. So that is the vaccination. Some common vaccines which are known as the DTP vaccines, BCG, polio, typhoid, measles, like that. And you all know about the polio pulse program. It was held in our country in December 1995. Oral polio vaccine, it was given to the children, and ultimately the entire country became polio free. The next particular topic is the non-infectious or non-communicable disease. If we talk about them, then these are the disease which don't get transferred from a person to another, like the diabetes. They are of different types. Among them, the very first one is the deficiency disease. किसी चीज़ की खामी हो जाए बॉडी में, तो जो टाइप की डिजीज़ होती है, लाइक किसी वाइटामिन, किसी प्रोटीन की कमी हो जाए, in that case the type is called as deficiency disease. Degenerative, that means by malfunctioning of any organ or by age, like that. You might be knowing about the cataract, Motiu. So how it is happening with the age. Allergies, that is caused by hypersensitivity of any organism, and uncontrolled growth of the cells that can cause the tumor or cancer. So this is about some of the basic information which you already know since your lower standards. In our next particular session, we will discuss about the bacterial disease and the viral disease and the protozoa disease. These are the three topics which are left out. And that's all for today. Thank you so much, my dear ones, for listening to me. And have a very good day. Do the homework sincerely. And that's all. Bye bye.